Okay, so we're going to talk about some interesting stuff today. We have a guest. He's superhuman, this guy. DL from North Texas. Really smart, very well educated, very experienced for his young age of whatever it is. And the topic for today is really finding truth. And we're going to start at the highest level because I want everything I could learn from DL and impart it to my feeble, old-minded brain, because I need all the help I could get. And I'm sure there are listeners that need a little help too. So let's start. DL, can you give me your perspective from the peak of the mountain down?
Sure. Well, I think you give me too much praise and credit for that. Just a regular guy trying to find his way like everybody else. And I think we all have our expertise and knowledge in our specific areas. So for me, I just try to find the truth because you're looking for it everywhere. And that's how you walk through the world. If you are operating in a world of lies and you're lost, then everything becomes confusing and you end up as Angry Alan because you're angry about things, right?
I'm angry about the propaganda. You're absolutely right.
So if you talk about it, where does anger come from, right? We have internal anger that we could have from relationships or spam emails or spam phone calls, just the little things like that. But I think those things you can meditate on, pray on, get counseling. You can kind of work through those over time. I really try to focus on the external triggers for where that anger arises from. So evil, corruption, inequality, injustice, that's a much larger, and it is pervasive within the system. That's where I have that, I don't call it anger, it's more righteous indignation for me that I'd like to fix.
That's biblical. Righteous.
Everything is going to be biblical,
right?
At the end.
Righteous indignation.
I look at this and go, how do we get to the truth, right? We're all just trying to get along on this little dot that we're on, right? We're all the same. I don't care if you're black, white, whatever your race, your creed, your religion, we're all the human species. That's it. We all should be in this together. We should all be seeking love and unity and kindness. So if we're all like that, then what's going on out there? And why is that? So I always start with, I went to law school, right? So I got 3 years of training and what people would think, you come out and you know the law. You don't know the law. That's not what they train you in law school. What do they train you in? They train you in what's called the IRAC method, right? So what is the issue? So you look out in the world and you go, where is this issue? What is the rule that applies to that issue? How do you analyze it to get to a proper conclusion, right? And you can have, there's multiple lawyers that people can look at it and apply different rules, apply a different analysis and get to different conclusions. That's fine. That's why you have differences of opinion. But the thing is, you have to go through the process. So today, what we have a lot of, in my opinion, is somebody says something on the news, X, Y, and Z happens, and then everybody reacts emotionally. I'm upset. I'm freaked out. I don't know what to do. I'm crying. Okay, what you just got a piece of information, and then you broke down. Why? Let's go through that process of saying, I've got an issue. I'm going to research it. I'm going to analyze it. I'm going to investigate it. Then I'm going to apply some critical thinking skills and some discernment based off of my experience and judge what that is.
Critical thinking.
Yes.
Right. That's like an assumption, right? Somebody's following this process. And then again, does that person have some kind of reasonably good critical thinking ability?
Yeah.
Are they trained in that? Have they had enough life experience to even, feel some of it if they don't exactly know it? So, to me, we use this terminology, but we really don't know what makes people tick because everybody's defective to some extent, right?
Well, we have the system. If you think about it, the system that most people operate in is a pressure system, right? Right now, we're sitting here doing this show, and in 3 seconds, China could launch a nuclear weapon and we could be annihilated. Does anybody realize we constantly live under that pressure as a human being? That should not exist in this world. That should not be there. So you don't go around and talk about it every day, but it's always there. You're feeling it. So we have that pressure. We have, whether it's atmospheric issues or food issues or water issues, that's all contributing to us, right? We are what we listen to, what we eat, what we drink. That's what makes us us. So if any of those things are problematic or poisonous or whatever, it's going to affect your critical thinking skills, right? Because now it's causing a problem in your system. You're not operating right.
Yeah, desperation causes you to
100%.
go haywire.
Fear is
anger.
Fear is the number one motivator, unfortunately, rather than love, of humans. So those who would not want us, or people who would want us to do a certain thing, they don't use love to motivate us. They use fear, right? Remember? COVID, we're all going to die. Everybody froze. We got to do all these things immediately. I said, wait a minute. What is this? Why are we doing this? Where did this come from? What's happening? As an example.
Can I interrupt you for 1 second, DL?
It's your show.
Yes, I can interrupt you. Fuck you.
I knew that was coming.
But it's interesting because if we go back just a few years, to 2009 with the financial burnout.
Sure.
And the government's giving out money.
100%.
It happened in COVID too, where the government just threw money at it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how much really helped. I don't really know that. But
we don't even know where it went.
And when we had the financial meltdown in 2009, they're giving all this money away to the banks and the financial institutions and people and this and that. And for what? All they had to say was, we got it backstopped. We'll do whatever it takes. When it washes out, as it washes through that experience and that time frame, if we had to throw $3 billion at it, no problem. But we're not going to throw $90 billion at it in advance and buy up every company in America or every bank in America.
Sure.
So there's that kind of bureaucratic stupidity, government, they don't really know how to do things in a crisis. It's too big a ship to turn on a dime, so to speak.
Yeah. So when I look at things like that, I mean, we've had a lot of large events happen in the time I've been alive, and I'm 55, so a little bit. And when I look at each one of those events, I stop. I first stop and go, what happened in 2008? What happened in 2009? What was the triggering event? Why did so many people believe like we were within hours of full financial collapse? Do you really understand the financial system? Where it emanated from, how it was built? How did we get this far along and two or three things can cause utter meltdown? That's where I go. Well, I'd like to know that because I didn't get an email or a memo that says, hey, by the way, your 401k is on its way to zero. And so you can prepare a plan. I'm sure hedge funds knew some of those things. The power brokers within the world get the information way before we, the people, get it. So I'd like to know what that is so I can maybe avoid that if I can. So those are the things when I see big events, I always stop and go, why? Where did it come from? 9/11, the Charlie Kirk shooting yesterday. Why? What's happening? What's going on? Let's stop and use some critical thinking, apply some discernment to what we have rather than just gather in whatever the news media is telling us and regurgitate that back out with no research, no knowledge, no even minimal level of work you've put into it.
I mean, you just described road rage, right? Yeah. I mean, I'm glad that you're here because you're making it simple. And whatever we agree on or disagree on, these key elements are the same. We both see eye to eye on that.
So think about road rage. That's a good one, right? Think about the person that's in road rage. Do we know anything about them, right? Maybe they just got a notice from their mortgage lender that they're behind, right? Maybe that's because their wife lost their job and her income's no longer coming in because you can't live in today's world without two incomes. How did that happen? My grandmother worked for the Postal Service and bought a house for cash in the 50s. So how did we get here? Does anybody stop and ask that? We don't know. So maybe he has all these problems. Maybe he just got diagnosed with cancer. Maybe his kid was injured at school, and then he hits the traffic, and it's just like gridlock. And he's just like, I'm building up all of this anxiety and issue, right? We're all susceptible to it. I think somebody, I was listening to an interview, which was a phenomenal interview that Sean Ryan did with Nathan Apple, that was talking about the business of religion. And he said, he interviewed somebody, he said, whether you realize it or not, every human is 10 mistakes away from murder. And I was like, it kind of pushed me back, and I was like, 10 mistakes from murder? And then you start thinking about it, and you're like, wow, yeah, I could see that that's possible. I would hope that I would stop on step 9 and go, hey, somebody put me in a box somewhere or something. Yeah. But you can see the frustration, the anger, right? Well, so I look, where does this anger come from? Right? We all have these like spam calls, emails, whatever, that make us angry, the little things in life. Right. But I look at the bigger construct, right? Because if you can, let's just say tomorrow, we all open up our bank accounts and we have $10 million in our bank accounts. And then we can afford to go to whatever acupuncturist, massage therapist, holistic doctor that can help us feel healthy. So now I feel healthy. I don't have to go to work if I don't want to. If I'm a musician, I can play music. If I'm a sculptor, I can sculpt. I have $10 million. It's going to buy anything. What if that happened tomorrow to everybody in this country? Do you think there would be a plug pulled on that level of anger, and you'd hear this and this big gas just released, that everybody felt that pressure go away? What if all the nuclear nations of the world signed a peace treaty and they all destroyed their nuclear weapons? You just hear that go away, and we'd all go, wait a minute. Hey, Fred, yeah, go ahead and cut me on the way to work. It's good. I don't need to be there. It doesn't matter what time I get there. Just relax. Everything's going to be great. I'd be going over to your house, hanging out. Hey, Alan, you got something wrong with your fence? Can I come over and help you? It's a different world.
So wait a minute. Are you telling me that I could be in a position and not be angry about anything?
I'm telling you.
You're going to put me out of a fucking job.
No, I'm going to tell you it's possible. But then you'll just have to change the name of the show. Yeah. It won't be Angry Alan, it'll be Happy Alan.
Well, happy hospice.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. You'll just be talking about happy things. So I always you got to look at the world. How do you see it, right? Is it all just bad? Yeah, it's pretty bad out there. There's no doubt. But where does that come from, right? It's the things we talked about. It's the external triggers. There's evil in the world, right? There's injustice. There is inequality. There is those problems that exist. So when you see the problem, I'll go back to law school. You identify the problem. Now, how do we go and attack that problem? One, you research it, you analyze it, you shine a light on it, you get with other people that see that, because they're going to provide you knowledge and information and experience that you may not have. Now you're shining a light on it. Now what do I do with it? I'm going to analyze it, break it down, and then I want to fix it. So how do I fix it? Like, how do I fix, there's evil with child trafficking, right? Around the world. It's happening every day. How do you deal with that? I'm at my house, comfortable. I go to sleep. My kids go to sleep at night, and there's a little child in a crate somewhere suffering. Yeah. I can't think about that at night. I know it exists, and I want to solve it, but I can't think about it at night because I can't sleep and get up the next day and get back and try to solve problems in the world. Right. But you got to recognize it. That's evil to me. So how do we fight that evil? I shine a light on it. So I brought it up. Shine a light on it. Exists in the world. That should never exist in our world. That should be eradicated from the planet, right? And those who talk about it are brave, because those who control it will kill you. That is a fact. They don't want you here. They make a lot of money on it. You sell drugs, you sell them once. You sell a person, you can keep selling them over and over and over and over. So we don't want that. Nobody I know, I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, I don't care if you're not political. Right. No human should want another human to suffer on this planet from hunger, from starvation, from any of that.
Right. So leads me to a question. We have all these billionaires and near trillionaires and
lots of them.
Sheikhs and kings and all kinds of people that control the most vast sums of money.
Yep.
And theoretically, I guess, according to, how you described it, if I had 10 million and I had no problems and like everybody was healthy in my family, you're right. I got no pressure. I could be happy and nice to everybody, maybe, unless they're attacking me
Right.
or hurting me.
But people think about that just in your circle of friends that are doing well. Do any of those people attack you?
No,
Most of them are pretty chill.
most of them are pretty chill.
Yeah,
So
'cause
the
they're
question
content.
is, and I forgot, I read some statistics like if so-and-so were to give, X of his billions away,
Sure.
it would be 10,000 or 20,000 per American.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just curious on a global scale, if you take all that wealth that's held by the 1/10 of 1% and redistribute it amongst the really, poor people, blue collar, really struggling, two people working in the family and still struggling, and you redistribute it so that they didn't have to like bend down to pick up a penny
Yeah.
to eat.
So let's talk about restructuring the system. How would you restructure it?
That's what I'd like to know. You tell me.
Okay. So first, I start with evil. I have to find the source of evil in the world, and maybe it's billionaires, maybe it's not, right? But I would presume that the people who are doing bad stuff are doing it and making a lot of money off of it, and we just probably don't know. So we may see let's just say we may see evil like the Jeffrey Dahmer, right? The guy who's killing people and putting heads in freezers. That's evil, right? But what if evil is at a much higher level, right? And much more control of humanity? Maybe that exists. And if it does, well, they're committing crimes against humanity. So you can apply a lot of laws and you can incarcerate those people, or you could probably try them for crimes against humanity and they may meet their own demise. Well, when you do that under the laws, you seize all their assets. So you can take it and redistribute it as you described. You can do it lawfully, very easily. It's not problematic at all. So you take all that evil, you eradicate the evil, and you seize all the assets. And there's probably in our country alone, there's probably $175 trillion of hidden wealth. What's our debt? 37 trillion? Not a problem.
What about that redistributing and seizure, right? Like you always hear like they seized this amount of drugs and money and weapons, or they, they held some yacht from some Russian, whatever. And where do all those seized funds and what do they call it when you have to pay court or restitution?
Restitution,
funds?
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where does all this money go? How is it applied?
It's a great question.
Where does it? Where and how does it restore its victims?
Well, historically, right, it goes back into the coffers of that organization that seized it, whether it was the DEA, the ATF, or whatever. And we really don't know where it goes because we don't have any transparency, right? So again, that's where the truth comes in. When you have truth and you have transparency, you know all that. Why, of all the organizations that are out there, why can't we just go online and see exactly where those funds are? I don't know. Maybe those people running things don't want you to know where that is. Maybe the people that have those cush jobs don't want that disclosed because maybe things are going wrong. I don't know, but I want to see it all.
So I've watched some of these TV movies and, you got CIA agents that operated in Afghanistan or Vietnam or wherever.
3-letter agencies.
Right. And you see these stories or read stories about rogue individuals in those agencies that are drug dealers or,
100%.
traffickers of some.
Yeah.
And so, I'm just curious, are these agencies and bodies there to protect us or there to fuck us up the ass? Because it seems to be very hard to discern. Again, maybe not the truth, but how do we get to these evildoers, right?
So what
is an evildoer?
So you started out really, really well, right? You're identifying the issue, right? The issue is it looks like these organizations may not have our best interests at heart. So the question becomes, is it the entire organization? Is it cancerous cells, bad actors, rogue agents within it? I mean, that's where you identify the issue. Now you got to go do the work. Now you got to go do the investigation. You got to go do the analysis, right? So that's where the work is put in to figure that out. And that's what takes time. Now, government agencies can do that. Individuals can do that. You can go find public resources and go track all that down. Now, you get a lot of redacted documents, right?
Right.
As a lawyer, I've seen a lot of redacted documents that usually tells you somebody's hiding something somewhere. So you gotta, what I always tell people when I was practicing law is follow the money. Because when you follow
Right.
the money and what's going on, that usually ends up where you can figure out who's doing what. Now, let's say we figure out who it is. And let's say it's the entire CIA. I think we had a former president that had called out the CIA for their misdeeds, the entire agency, and said, I will blow apart the CIA and bash it into a billion pieces. And I think that's one of the last things we heard from that president. So you better know your facts. You better get your information right before you come out and broadcast that, because you may be fighting an enemy that's way bigger than you envision. Now, who fights those enemies? So let's say you identify it and you figure out the enemy. If it's a rogue agent, you can probably report it and handle it. If it's an entire agency or an entire group, that may be above your pay grade. So what do? Now you got to find somebody you can trust that has the ability to enforce the laws and then go handle it. That's where it gets really difficult.
Are we talking about trust or?
We're talking about truth, right? So if people are using our funds, our tax dollars or the funds within these organizations, and they're doing things that are not appropriate, everybody should want the truth and justice. You know, I tell people all the time at all branches of government, whether it's the judiciary, the executive branch, the legislative branch, we all, as we the people, deserve accountability. Those are all public servants. They are taking a job not for money. We pay them for the role as we should. We should all pay them well. If we get good, honest people doing the job, they should be paid really well. So they're not susceptible to corruption, but they all are there as public servants to go do that job. And we want them to do that. So when there's a bad actor within the machine, those same public servants should all point fingers and say, I got a bad actor over here.
You know, regardless of agency or branch of government, the swamp is really big, right? So I look at it like, you know, we got whatever number of assholes in government,
Sure.
in the Senate, the House, the whatever, judiciary, you know, in all branches.
Yeah.
And, you know,
It's our government.
I know, but we got
to
it's
fix
like the tail is dragging, you know, wagging the dog.
100%.
Right.
That's why you got to figure out why that is.
So who sits, because of the polarization in this country,
Sure.
who or what group of people are qualified to say, you know what, you're all fucked up in your own ways.
Mm-hmm.
And what we have to do is kind of, you know, adjust our philosophy. Like, it's not you against me. It's
Never.
not me against you.
No.
It's, we got a fucked up situation here.
We do.
And we have to sit and talk about what to try to fix it. And, you know, it's probably not right. We're probably not going to get it right so easily or so fast, but let's try this. If that doesn't work, then we'll try another thing. But, you know, if you blow it up immediately, then everything goes to hell in a handbasket because there's
Sure.
chaos.
So let me do this. Let me give you 100 years, unlimited funds, and full access to all the resources of the federal government. Fix it.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know where to start.
Exactly. Well, I believe there are people who do know how to fix it and have probably been working on it for a very long time. It's not three guys on a napkin that met to get a Slurpee at a 7-Eleven. They're very smart. They make me look like I can't tie my shoes. Okay. Very smart people that have been watching what for a very long time? Evil take control of this country and most of the world, right? So if you see that and you believe that there's good in the world and there's good people, and I believe
there's good people. for
100%.
sure.
The question is, we got to get those good people in a position of power. So what's the first thing you got to do if you want to get good people in a position of power? How do you get the power in this country? What's the most powerful office in the land?
Well, you know, I changed the name of the office of the President of the United States to the Office of Homeland Stupidity.
Okay.
But
But that position
being
has a
said-
lot of power.
yes, it does. And, again, power could be used differently
100%.
or at least perceived differently. I don't agree with the current leadership with how they do things. I don't disagree with them on every issue in terms of this is fucked up, we have to fix it.
Yeah.
And I may not agree with the fix that they're attempting, but the truth is that we are broken. And I don't know, me sitting here, I'm just a guy, and I'm an elder citizen, and that's it.
Yeah.
And all I could do is speak my mind, but I'm really not just curious, but afraid that the way in which we're going and the leadership, and I don't mean just the president, I'm talking about the Senate, the House.
Sure.
We're not just all puppy dogs that follow the one with the biscuit. We got to figure out,
right,
real problems, how to solve real problems, how to help real people, how to get to the evil. And again, there's overkill. Like, we had the thing, they blew up that drug running boat.
Sure.
Right. I don't know if we had to blow it up with the Navy. Maybe we could have taken it out a different way. We knew it was there. We knew whatever. But, a lot of it is optics. A lot of it is, circus kind of media and logic. But to affect the change and to find good people, what I see and what I hear from smart, successful people around the country is that, hey, it's so fucked up. I don't want to get involved. I want to be able to state my point of view.
Sure.
But I don't want to be on that team, in Washington, taking the heat for making these corrections.
So you got to know the enemy you're fighting, and the enemy is massive, and its tentacles are everywhere, and it's evil. So if I was going to fight that enemy, let me give you the hypothetical situation. One, I'd want to have an ally in the president, for sure. That's an immense amount of power, because the president controls the entire U.S. military. The entire U.S. military is the largest military in the world, right? So if I can control that, and sometimes you don't have to use the stick, right? You just have to let people know you have the stick and bring them to the table and say, look, we have to solve some problems. We got big problems, because you can talk about problems here, but they're all connected. We're all global now. You can't, if you want to stop child trafficking, you can't just stop it at our borders.
No, it's in every country.
It's in every country, worldwide. So you have to call that out, and you have to go fix that worldwide. Well, that's going to take some time. That's going to take a long time. So you got to start internationally. You got to calm all the people with the fingers on the trigger of nuclear weapons. We got to calm all that down, because we got to go fix all these things. And then we have our own problems to fix here, from government structure to taxes to interest rates to all the other stuff. But when people say, oh, I give up, it's just not fixable. Well, then what are you doing here? What are you here for? You're just going to go play golf and enjoy that time, and you're not going to put in any effort to fix it, but you want somebody else to fix it? I find that disingenuous. Everybody can do something. You got a show. Maybe this show's going to help. I try to do my part with all the things I do in my life to provide truth and information to people, to give them a sense of peace and calm, and know that there are good people working to solve this problem. But if you throw your weight in that ring, now it's going to get there faster. Why doesn't it happen faster? You know why? I could fix it all. If this broadcast was to every single person in the United States, could fix it in a blink of an eye. But they all don't, and they're all disconnected, and you got to get everybody. And somebody's going to listen and say, this guy's crazy, I don't know, whatever. It's not that hard to fix, but everybody has to stand up. Everybody has to do their part, and everybody has to shine a light on the broken system and throw their weight behind it to fix it. It's literally not that complicated. It's really not. Right. Listen to the leader of El Salvador, right? How did he fix his country? Massive crime problem, right? Massive. He said, forget this. I'm done. I'm bringing in the military, and we're going to clean house. Now he's got no problem, totally clean, totally organized. You can go vacation there, and everybody's like, was it really that easy? Yeah, it kind of was. Now, looking at it, sounds like an extreme answer to the problem. But sometimes you got to think outside the box, and I'm sure he did, and solve the problem. And he told us what? He said, I don't know if you understand this. He tells the American people this at a speech that he gave. I don't know if you understand this, but taxes have nothing to do with money. They have everything to do with control. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? And he goes, yeah, don't they just print money when they need it? Well, that's true. So why do they need to collect any money from you? Why don't they just print more? And I'm like, okay, well, I never thought about that. That's an interesting question. Why is a leader of another country explaining to me our tax system? I'm like, that's fascinating. I should probably dig into more how that is structured and why that is there. Again, it's ask the question, then do the research and figure out what you know or what you thought you knew. Maybe you're going to learn something completely different and change your entire philosophy. Okay, but that's how you learn. You can't sit back and say, it's a wreck. I'm not going to even be involved.
I agree. Personally, I have embarked on the podcast because I think that sharing points of views with people and talking about whatever, if there's a solution, if it requires an engineer or a doctor, I'm neither. But at least I'd like to hear what the engineer and the doctor have to say.
100%.
And try to create a path that can start solving problems.
Well, if you look at it, there's a lot of religions in the world, right?
Right.
And I always, I'm not how do I say this accurately? I'm not a religious person, but I'm a deeply spiritual person. Because when I look at control mechanisms, right? Large structures that have control concern me. Because then you have to know that you've got somebody that's benevolent at the top of that structure that is caring for those people. And it's very easy, even with the best intentions, for those people to lose their way. So and not to say that people shouldn't go to whatever religious institutions they do. There's a lot of great fellowship there. There's a lot of great learning. There's a lot of great questions. But you always have to be critical of things. That's why I look through everything in life as be critical. So I look at, for me, it's Jesus. Like, what is Jesus's lesson? Whether you believe he's the savior, you believe he's just a prophet, he's just a guy on the planet. It's some great lessons, right? Love, humility, kindness, right? I'm like, okay, so where did we lose that?
Well,
and I think that's in a lot of religions.
I'll tell you what, it's in every religion because, look, you had Madoff that pretty much robbed every friend, neighbor, every Jewish charity, whatever. And this happens in the Catholic, Christian churches.
100%.
The guys that have to fly around on jets, and they're supposed to be talking to people about religion, living in $40 million homes, flying in jets, driving fancy.
Yeah.
To me, the business of religion, modern day religion, is a fucking nightmare. It's a disaster.
Go listen to a guy. So Steve Ryan did a podcast with a guy named Nathan Apple. It's called Religion is a Business.
Yeah.
And he breaks it down. He went like an investigative reporter to all these places. And you're 100% right. It's in all sectors of that, right? Just pilfering the system. And he said he believes, this is his personal opinion, there's no way to have the business of the organization, the religion, whatever it is, there's no way to have that and the spiritual side connected together. You got to separate them. If you go into this business and you're going to donate to this institution for them to build a building, then do that. That's fine. But don't mix that up with your spirituality. That is completely separate because this is a tax entity. That's what it is.
Right.
It's a tax entity.
That's a great kind of dichotomy because religion is granted tax benefits.
Huge.
They're quote charities.
Yep.
And
did you know the Hells Angels is a charity?
It's a fucking business.
Did you know that? Did you know the whole structure? I watched that podcast. It's fascinating to me. I was on a flight and it just blew my mind. That's why I listen to so many podcasts. And they were talking about, the Hells Angels was a charity and that's how they were set up. And the original structure for all of this within the IRS tax code was the Salvation Army. And they created this entire structure. And I'm like, wow, that was the model for it. But do you know who designed that entire thing?
No.
The CIA. I'm like, whoa. So this blew my mind. So what I heard, right, I just repeated, I was like, that's interesting information. Now, do I believe that? I don't know. But now I got to go research. I got to put on the critical thinking skills and discernment and go dig down that path. Because if that's the case, that's very interesting.
And I'd really like to know the CIA's role in that.
Yeah, me too. That seemed really bizarre.
The other question I have is more, if religion is a business and spirituality and faith is a belief system to help people understand human nature and how to get along with people,
guide us where we're supposed to be going,
and God, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Then why does the state and states practice religion for us as part of a business? So, in other words, I believe in the separation of freedom of religion and separation of church and state.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was in the Constitution, at least the separation of church and state.
Yeah, I'm not sure that.
Or in some document.
Yeah, I think that's another one to crack open and figure out where that.
And again, I have nothing against any religion. Yeah. When I was a kid, we used to get up, do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had no problem with it.
Yeah.
I don't think my parents had a problem with it.
Sure.
And the 10 Commandments, how could anybody have a problem with them?
Pretty basic.
Right? Like, I mean.
I don't think look, I always look at this and I say, I don't think we make the world complicated. I think the structure that is there has made our lives complicated. I think if we take the simple lessons, and my faith, simple lessons that Jesus taught us, and I'm like, these are pretty simple. Why is it so hard? Right? Have love, humility. I'm just a public servant. I'm God's servant. Whatever God wants me to go do, I'm going to go do. Like I said, hey, I got this call from Alan. He wants me to come do this podcast called, Crazy Alan or Angry Alan. I'm like, is that something I should do? Because I'm a different guy. And he's like, yeah, go do it. Bring the truth, bring all of that stuff, and hopefully that will help somebody, right? Because it's all about help. How do we deal with the anger? We want help. And so I think it's simple for us. And I find when I meet people, I've traveled all over the world. I've met people from all over the place. The kindest, nicest people, right? There are people who are angry and upset, and it's usually because of the stressors that are being pressed upon them. So that's why I gave you the example. If we had the money and we had the health and we just pull those release valves, if you will, and that's all there, I think you could literally change the world very quickly. I really don't think it's that hard, but you got to have the power at the top of the structure, and you've got to do it worldwide. And if you're able to do that, and that, again, this is not a weekend at Bernie's figure it out. It's a massive undertaking. And I think people today, some people see that, like you said, some people may see those things progressing and happy about them. Others may see those things happening and go, I'm not sure I like that. Okay, well, to your point, somebody's working on something, whether you fully understand each step of the process or not, or agree with it or not. I guarantee you, if somebody gave me all that and I said, I'm going to go fix the world, and I went out and fixed the world, 1,000%, not everybody's going to agree with what I did or how I did it, and I'm going to be second guessed till the end of time. But guess what I delivered to you? Health, wealth, and freedom. I'm going to live with that. I'm going to be okay with that. And then I know kids are not being trafficked in some kind of container across the sea. That's over on my watch. So I would look at that and I'd say, look, here's all the things that I accomplished. Yeah. If you're in a war against evil, there's going to be casualties. There always are in a war. That's just the way it is. But does that benefit outweigh all those other things?
So who makes the definitions?
Yeah, that's a good,
right?
Yeah,
these,
100%.
Gentlemen, I think you have brought in some very interesting conversation right here. Through these types of dialogues, we really do reduce people from the road rage and some of the trauma. I think we can help, and we're meeting on common ground. And I think we should have another session here.
Yeah.
This has been very productive.
I think we are all the same, because when I've traveled around the world, people bring into their homes, they're about eating and drinking and talking with their other people from other lands. I mean, In every foreign country that I've been to, I've been welcomed. And every country has its problems, and there's thieves in places and bad guys in places, but there are degrees of bad and good. But most people want to be able to eat, drink, feed their family, educate their family, make sure their family's healthy.
It's simple.
Yeah, that
Really
is simple.
So how did it get so complex? How did the structure that we live in become so difficult, right? That's where I start asking the questions. Who created that? Why is this structure there that it makes it so difficult for us to live? And if we can pinpoint that and dig it out, then let's go try to solve it. Let's shine a light on it.
Identifying the truth.
Identifying the truth, right? Because people always say, I don't think you'll ever figure out the truth. And today is the hardest time since I've been alive finding the truth, because you have so many people who are polarized, and here's the thing. People think they're going to get truth like, here's the truth. Like it's all capsulized. Well, what if you get 90% truth and 10% lies? Now you're like, okay, wait a minute. I feel like I got the truth, but somebody gave you 10% lie with that truth.
Okay, so I'm glad you said that, because in the news, in the media, mainstream or otherwise, and I'm not saying mainstream is good or bad, I'm just saying it's all fucking propaganda. And that you hear it all day long.
Yeah, Bernays created propaganda. He's the same guy who did all that advertising stuff.
It's just the way it is.
It's a purpose,
But nowadays, it's 24/7, 365 on every device. It's on your watch. It's going to be in, you're going to have little chips in your hearing aids, your sunglasses, whatever. The world is so fucked up. And all I can tell you is, when I was a kid, I liked having a TV. I watched all stupid shows, some movies. It was great. I remember watching the Landing on the Moon on TV.
Oh, let's not go there.
No, I'm just saying. Okay. I thought I was watching.
So
Landing
here's
on the
my
Moon.
thing on the moon. It always freaks me out. I'm like, I can't get my cell phone to work from one city in North Texas to another city 5 miles away.
And we landed a
And
guy
they
on the
said,
moon.
yes,
40
we're
years
on the moon, Mr. President. I'm thinking, what?
Okay. So
That one really questions me. I'm like, how is that possible? Like,
and yeah,
I don't know.
Look,
Interesting.
science and that kind of stuff is pretty crazy. I
Very
don't
much so.
understand it, but
Yeah.
now we got things that are going out, 300 million light years to another solar system.
do you know we used to have cars that ran on water? What happened to those? Would that be amazing? I don't know.
It would be amazing if we
Tesla
could,
created free energy right out in the ether.
Yeah.
What
Oh,
happened
yeah.
to that?
Gentlemen, these are all wonderful topics.
We got a gazillion.
I look forward to hearing some
yeah.
of our subscribers and some of their additional
Yeah,
stuff.
you got to promise to come.
I think
come
we should
again,
also
come
look
more.
at a follow up.
Yeah, we'll have to
we'd
come
love
up with
to
a whole
have you
series.
back.
But there's a lot of stuff that, in my opinion and in my feeble mind, is easier to at least resolve by talking.
100%.
When I see propaganda and polarization, it's paralyzing.
It's disheartening for sure. You don't want to see
disheartening
that.
and paralyzing, because this once great nation
True.
is really in trouble.
Well, I think about it like this. I can't remember which founding father came out of the meeting, and they said, "Well, what did we get? What did we get?" They were trying to figure out what form of government they got, and he said, "Well, you got a constitutional republic, if you can keep it." What does that mean? That means everybody has to do their part. Everybody has to go push evil away, fight injustice, fight inequality every day, or you're going to lose it.
Yeah,
That's what it requires.
For the normal citizenry, and I'm not talking about the criminal enterprises or anything, but for normal citizenry to be so angry and so polarized, it's not only disgraceful and disheartening, but it's dangerous and it's senseless.
Yeah.
So, I welcome you anytime you want to come on, DL. You are welcome anytime.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if and when I expire, you could come sit in this chair and maybe interview Tim, because Tim is a very calm, peaceful version of me,
Sure.
you know? And you know the differences, right? He's Texas Tim, grew up in the South,
Love it.
nice Baptist guy, you know, I would say independent, middle of the road guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm an obnoxious, big mouth guy from New Jersey. And, you know, I see things differently. And my
That's what makes it
biggest
great.
problem is I say it when I see it.
Yeah. So, look, I mean, we
This
all
dialogue is all positive.
Yeah, we all
for
have our own
everybody.
opinions, but look, at the end, we all want love and unity, and you don't want people angry. And I look at how do we fix that anger the best we can. And I think there's solutions out there, and I believe in my faith and in my knowledge and in my understanding of everything I've researched. I believe that's coming, and I believe you're about to get a world that is going to blow your mind. And
Or blow up.
I don't think so.
Right.
We had many chances to blow up. I think we're past those, but many times I agreed with you. Yeah, I thought that was definitely a possibility. I think we're past that. It's my opinion, but I think we're past it, and I think we're going to get a world that's going to be way better. But it's not. Nothing is unless you get some kind of, extraterrestrial light beam, like they erase your like Men in Black kind of thing, and it all just happens. I think it's going to take time.
That would be fun. I'd like the idea. Or that time transporter thing.
There's
You know.
when you get into time. So I have a friend. I'll give you one more thing. I had a friend, and I said, if you could ask, and he's 1,000 times smarter than me. I said, if you could ask the president any question, what question would you ask? And I'm thinking he's going to ask something political, whatever. And he says, what is truly above us and what is truly below us? Okay, I don't even know what that means. And then the second question is, what timeline are we currently operating on? Like, okay, well, I don't understand the second question either. I'm like, I'm hoping I can get the third. And he goes, and the third was, what is the process of where our souls go when we die? And I'm like, look, man, you just put my head in a knot. Now I got to go home and research and think, and I got to meditate. I got to figure out what the heck I just heard. And I'm like, you couldn't just ask a simple question like, where's the money from X, Y, and Z? Like, no,
Yeah.
He is at a totally different level. But that's why, these podcasts like this are great, because when I meet guys like that and I talk to them, I have these meetings around my fire pit where we can sit around, and I got former Army Rangers and 101st Airborne and Recon Rangers and Navy SEALs and business guys. And when you get around really smart people, I come away and I go, man, I really don't have anything to contribute. You guys are way smarter than me. But that's how you learn and you
Collaborate.
develop 100%.
Always play with somebody better or smarter.
100%.
I mean, achieving good is fucking hard as hell. And
Got to work at it.
got to laugh a little bit every day
100%.
and take a shot of scotch or whatever your preferred thing is
Yeah.
before you go to bed. Because, it's a little bit of a merry-go-round.
It is. When I get lost, I just take some quiet time and I just say, God, I feel like I'm lost. I don't know where I'm going here. I feel this pressure coming in, and whatever you can give me to try to relieve that pressure, push me in the right direction. Let me know where I need to go. Because when I was younger in my life, when we're all there, we just think we can control it all. It's my world. I can go and I can work harder. I can do this, and I can control it all. You get kneecapped enough by God, he's going to tell you which direction you need to be moving in.
Hey.
You're going to know.
Hey, God has been there for me, and certain times when I wanted him around, I couldn't reach him.
Sure.
Maybe his cell phone battery was dead.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I appreciate, finding fire. I appreciate air conditioning
Super good.
and refrigeration, but mostly air conditioning.
Yeah.
And, a nice shower. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
Right. And my kids.
We got a lot of comforts. I always ask, it's like I look at things, again, I'm the question guy, just like things that don't make sense. I'm like, so most of these things were invented a long time ago. So we're so smart and we have all this ingenuity, and we've had very few significant, like life-altering inventions in the last 50 or 60 years. That seems odd.
Well, we had the internet.
Yeah, that's
what's his
pretty
name?
good. Yeah, the internet's pretty good.
progression.
But it always seems like there's other things. Like, when I listen to these podcasts, like I was listening to a general General Quast was talking about, and he said, folks, we already have the technology today. He was talking to Hillsdale College. It's already available to us to move any human on the planet to another location on the planet within 1 hour. I was like, what did he just say?
Show me the money.
Yeah, where's that at? Is that what? I don't even know what that is. Kind of blew my mind. I said, well, I got to stop and do some research. He said, yeah, you're going to be able to set your cell phone right on your desk. You don't need to plug it in anything. We'll charge it from space. And I'm like, okay. Well, I'm like, we got Starlink, so we get internet from space. So I don't know what the difference is of that technology to have power from space. But that would be, well, you wouldn't have to worry about power and hurricanes. It wipes everything out. You just get it from space. So I don't know. I think there's a lot coming, and there's a lot of changes our way. And I'm fascinated by all those things. But for me, I want to see evil put in a tiny little box and shoved in a place where it can't get away and it's guarded. And we know what it looks like. We identify it. So if it does get out, we all step up and fight that battle and put it back where it needs to go.
Yeah. Well, I'm all about the good and evil thing.
Yeah. Well, evil's been controlling our world for a long time. We feel it. We know it.
I mean, good has to.
I think it's time.
Yeah. I agree with you on that one.
Gentlemen, I think y'all are hitting it.
I want to know why you're so quiet there, Texas Tim.
Well, y'all are making good progress here.
See, he's there to support us.
Yeah, I'm absolutely listening. I think you're hitting on some common ground there. I think we probably need to start thinking about pausing this. And one question I have is, where do we go from here?
Well, I always look at it. It's the same thing. Question everything you see. Question everything you think you know, and go do the research, go investigate, apply critical thinking, apply discernment to come up with your own conclusions. And when you have that conclusion, put a big question mark next to it, because that's only your conclusion for today until you learn from somebody else, gather more information, and put it together. I look at my whole existence on this planet as one huge jigsaw puzzle. If I got a piece that doesn't fit, I got to set it over here and I got to go, why? Why doesn't that fit? There's something I don't know or something I don't understand, because it should all fit. The world's not chaotic. There is an answer. There is a truth, and it should fit together. So I got to keep working at it until it fits together.
You got your work cut out for you.
I do.
I think that's great. I hope we
do me one really big favor. When you figure it out, send me a memo so I can read and discern the memo.
But it's not going to help you, because you got to do your own work.
Oh, I know.
Now, this is one guy's opinion. What if I'm wrong and you change your whole life?
We're all wrong and we're all right. It just doesn't necessarily match up at the same time.
Yeah, my point is just everybody has to do. You can listen to. There's a lot of smart people in the world.
I know.
Right? And I always look at, when I listen to people and get information from them, my question is always, what's their motive? Do they have an ulterior motive? Are they trying to get me to buy something, sell something? If the motive is just truth, I'm dialed in. If the motive is something other than that, then I got to stop and question. But if it's just truth, I'm not selling anything. I don't sell anything to anybody. I listen
to a lot of these science and technology podcasts.
Yeah.
I happen to know one of the guys who has a really brilliant one. And to me, that's all very interesting.
Fascinating.
And it may matter in and for the future, but as far as I'm concerned, is something that I really have, that difficulty truly understanding it. And I appreciate all the work that,
100%.
all the good work that people do and all the research that people do. And I hope it works out. Whatever,
this is all wonderful, gentlemen. I really want to.
Tim wants to go to lunch. You want to have lunch?
Tim's like, I'm starving. I'm about to get hangry on Angry Alan show here.
Listen, we could all go. I have a
good
place.
Feedback.
I have a place that Tim and I go to.
I'm in.
And they got the cheapest fucking breakfast pretty much anywhere, right?
It's good value.
I got to eat.
And it's good and it's comfortable. And
I'm in.
Yeah, you ready?
All right.
We'll all go.
That's it.
All right.
Awesome.
Dale, thanks so much for your time. That's very
Thank you guys for having me.